The rain fell heavily, turning the streets into shining rivers. Dark clouds covered the sky like a thick blanket, and the city looked cold and lonely. People hurried by, pulling their coats tight and holding umbrellas over their heads. But on one street corner, under the harsh rain, stood a small figure, a poor girl soaked from head to toe. Her clothes were old and torn, her hair stuck to her face from the wetness. She tried to cross the busy road, but every time she stepped forward, a car rushed by, splashing water all over her. Her feet were bare and she looked tired, cold, and scared. Inside a sleek black car driving slowly down the street was Ayan, a young billionaire who had everything money could buy, yet tonight, his mind was far from his luxurious life. The rain made him slow down, but when he saw the girl struggling, something inside him stopped. Most people would just look away or hurry past, but Ayan did not. He rolled down his window and called softly, "Hey, do you need help?" The girl looked up. Her eyes were wide but calm. She didn't say a word, but she took a small step toward the car. Ayan stepped out quickly and opened the door. The cold rain soaked him too, but he didn't care. "Come inside. You're freezing," he said gently. The girl nodded and climbed into the warm car. She shivered but did not speak. Ayan handed her a dry blanket he kept in the back. She wrapped it around her thin shoulders but still said nothing. The city's rain blurred the lights outside, but inside the car, it was quiet and warm. Ayan looked at her closely. Her face was dirty but had a strange calmness, as if she had been through many storms, not just the rain. "Why were you out in this rain?" Ayan asked softly. The girl's eyes met his. For a moment it seemed like she wanted to say something, but then she shook her head and stayed silent. At that moment, Ayan's young son, Zayn, watched from the mansion window. Zayn was born with a disability. He could not walk or speak easily. Tonight, he sat quietly, watching his father's car park in the driveway with the strange girl. Zayn's eyes were full of questions, but he said nothing. Inside his wheelchair, he hoped for something new. Maybe hope, maybe a miracle. Ayan helped the girl out of the car when they reached home. The rain had stopped, but the air was cold and heavy with silence. He brought her inside, gave her warm clothes and made tea. Still, she said little. After a while, she looked at Ayan and finally spoke, her voice soft, almost a whisper. "Thank you," she said. Ayan smiled kindly. "You don't have to thank me. But why were you alone outside in such bad weather?" The girl looked down. Then slowly she raised her hand and held Ayan's. "Tomorrow, you will see," she whispered. Her words sent a chill through Ayan's heart. What did she mean? What would he see? That night, Zayn could not sleep. He thought about the girl and her strange message. He wished he could ask her what she meant, but Zayn was quiet and still, watching the dark sky from his window. The next morning, the mansion was calm but full of nervous energy. The girl was there, sitting silently in the corner of the living room. Ayan looked at her and asked, "Are you ready to tell me what you meant last night?" She smiled faintly. "All in time, but first you must meet Zayn." Ayan looked toward his son's room. Zayn was waiting quietly, his eyes shining with hope for the first time in a long while. The girl took a deep breath and stood up. She walked slowly to Zayn's room. As she reached the door, she paused, turned to Ayan and said softly, "Trust me." Ayan watched nervously as the girl entered the room. What would happen next was a mystery to everyone. Zayn's heart beat fast. He felt something different in the air, a strange feeling of hope. The girl sat beside Zayn and held his hand. She looked deep into his eyes and said, "You can do this. Believe in yourself." Zayn's eyes widened. It was the first time someone spoke to him with such confidence. Ayan stood by the door, watching quietly. He did not understand what was happening, but he knew this moment was important. Outside, the sky began to clear. The rain stopped, and the first sunlight of the day peeked through the clouds. Inside the room, something invisible was changing. Zayn squeezed the girl's hand tightly. "Tomorrow, you will see," she repeated softly. Ayan felt a shiver run down his spine. What was coming? What miracle was about to happen? The silence was full of questions. The night was over, and a new story was just beginning. The next morning, the sun rose slowly, cutting through the last clouds of the storm. Light filled the grand rooms of Ayan's mansion, but inside, the air was still heavy with silence and questions. The mysterious girl, now dry and wearing simple clothes Ayan had given her, sat quietly in the corner of the large living room. Her eyes watched everything carefully, especially Zain, Ayan's son. Zain was not like other boys. Born with a disability, he spent most of his days in a wheelchair, unable to walk or speak clearly. For years, his parents had tried many doctors and treatments, but nothing had helped. Zain had learned to live quietly, hiding his pain inside. But this morning was different. Ayan sat near the girl, curious but unsure what to say. Finally, he asked gently, "Do you want to meet Zain? He's my son." The girl's eyes shone. She nodded silently. Ayan stood and slowly walked to Zain's room. When he opened the door, Zain was sitting quietly, looking out the window. His eyes lit up when he saw his father. "Zain," Ayan said softly, "this is the girl I told you about." The girl stepped inside and smiled at Zain. She did not speak much, but her eyes showed kindness and understanding. Zain looked at her with a strange hope in his eyes. No one had ever looked at him like that before. The girl sat beside him and gently held his hand. Zain's small fingers trembled but did not pull away. For a few minutes the room was quiet except for the soft sound of the rain dripping outside the window. Then the girl whispered, "Try to stand." Zain looked surprised. He had not tried to stand in a long time, maybe never. Ayan watched nervously. "Zain, you don't have to try if you don't want to." But the girl smiled gently. "He can do it, I believe." Zain looked at her, his eyes wide and uncertain. "Close your eyes," the girl said softly. "Imagine you are strong. Imagine your legs are helping you." Zain closed his eyes slowly. He took a deep breath. Then with great effort he moved his hands to the armrests of his wheelchair. The girl helped him hold his body steady. Everyone in the room held their breath. Zain tried to push down with his legs. It was hard and his body shook. Tears ran down his face, but he did not give up. "Keep going," the girl whispered. And then, for a moment, Zain's legs lifted off the chair. Ayan's heart raced. Was it really happening? But then Zain's legs slipped back down, and he sat again in the chair, tired and sad. The girl smiled softly and said, "It is a start." Zain looked up at her and smiled for the first time in months. Ayan wiped a tear from his eye. "This is more than I hoped for," he said quietly. The girl stood and walked to the window. She looked out at the brightening sky and then back at Ayan. "There is more to this story," she said softly. "Zain can heal, but not just by trying." Ayan felt confused. "What do you mean?" The girl turned to him. "Healing comes from inside. It is about hope, love, and believing in what others cannot see." Ayan looked at his son, who was trying to smile again. "Tomorrow you will understand more," the girl said quietly. Before Ayan could ask more questions, she stood and walked toward the door. Suddenly there was a soft knock. Ayan opened the door and saw a man in a dark suit standing outside. "Mr. Ayan, we need to talk," the man said seriously. Ayan nodded and closed the door behind him. The man's voice was low and urgent. "There are people in your family who don't want this girl here. They know things she shouldn't know." Ayan's heart tightened. "What do you mean?" "They will try to stop her, and it could be dangerous." Ayan looked back toward the living room. The girl was sitting quietly, unaware of the danger. He felt a sudden need to protect her and his son. "Thank you for telling me," Ayan said. The man nodded and left quickly. Inside, Ayan sat down beside the girl again. He looked at her and said, "We need to be careful." The girl looked at him with calm eyes. "I am ready for what comes next." Zain watched quietly. Hope was growing inside him, a small flame that he had not felt before. And outside, the storm had finally ended. The sun was shining brighter, but dark clouds still lingered in the distance. What would tomorrow bring? The morning light filled the big house, but inside the air was thick with questions. Ayan sat quietly, thinking about the mysterious girl and her strange words. Why had she saved his son's hope? And what secret did she carry with her? Zayn was in his room, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in a long time, he felt a small spark inside, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, he could do more than sit quietly. The girl's words kept echoing in his mind. "You can do this, believe in yourself." Suddenly, the girl entered the room. She was calm, but there was a new strength in her eyes. She sat down next to Zayn and spoke softly. "You are stronger than you think, but to heal, you must make a promise." Zayn looked at her, confused. "What promise?" She smiled gently. "A promise to never give up, to fight even when it's hard, to believe in hope even when no one else does." Zayn's eyes filled with tears. "I promise." The girl nodded. "Good, because healing starts with hope." Meanwhile, downstairs, Ayan was preparing for a difficult meeting. The mysterious man who warned him yesterday was right. Some people in Ayan's family were against the girl. They feared what she knew and what she could do. When the family gathered, the tension was clear. His uncle spoke coldly. "Ayan, this girl is a risk. She does not belong here. We must protect the family." Ayan stood firm. "She helped my son. She has a promise with him. I will protect her." His uncle's eyes narrowed. "Be careful. Sometimes promises bring danger." That night, Ayan returned to Zayn's room. The boy was asleep, but the girl sat nearby, watching quietly. Ayan whispered, "Why did you come to us? Why help Zayn?" The girl looked at him, her eyes deep and full of secrets. "Because I have seen what hope can do, and because your son has a light that can never be hidden." Ayan was silent. He wanted to believe her, but he also feared what might come next. Suddenly, the girl reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, old key. "This key opens a door," she said softly. "A door to something very important. Tomorrow, we will find it." Ayan looked at the key, curious but unsure. "A door? What door?" The girl smiled mysteriously. "All in time. For now, get some rest. Tomorrow will change everything." As Ayan left the room, he looked back at Zayn, sleeping peacefully. Hope was alive, but so was the danger. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying secrets no one was ready to hear. The morning sun shone brightly through the large windows of Ayan's mansion, but inside, the house felt full of tension and mystery. Ayan held the small old key tightly in his hand. He couldn't stop thinking about the girl's words. This key opens a door. But what door, and where? The mysterious girl was already waiting in the living room, calm and quiet. As always, Zayn sat beside her in his wheelchair, looking hopeful but nervous. Ayan took a deep breath. "Show me where we need to go," he said. The girl stood and led them through the mansion's long corridors. They passed many rooms, some bright and warm, others cold and dark. Finally, they reached a wall in the oldest part of the house. Ayan looked closely. At first, it seemed like a plain wall. But then the girl pointed to a small, almost invisible keyhole. "This is it," she whispered. Ayan inserted the old key slowly. It fit perfectly. With a soft click, a hidden door opened. Behind the door was a narrow, dusty staircase leading down into darkness. Zayn's eyes widened. "Where does it go?" The girl smiled. "To a secret no one has known for many years." Together, they carefully walked down the steps. The air grew cooler and heavier. At the bottom, a small room appeared, filled with old books, papers, and strange objects covered in dust. Ayan looked around in surprise. "What is this place?" The girl stepped forward and picked up a dusty book. She opened it and showed Ayan and Zayn a faded picture of a man who looked like Ayan, but older and dressed in old-fashioned clothes. "This is your great-grandfather," she said softly. "He was a man of secrets. He left behind a legacy, something powerful that could help your son." Ayan's heart beat faster. "What kind of legacy?" The girl pointed to a symbol carved on the book's cover. The same strange symbol Ayan had seen before on the violin the poor girls were selling. This symbol means hope and healing. Your family has kept this secret for generations, but it was lost. Your great-grandfather believed in miracles. Zayn touched the book carefully. Can it help me? The girl nodded. Yes, but it will not be easy. To unlock the power, you must believe in yourself and face your fears. Suddenly, the door behind them creaked. A shadow moved on the stairs. Ayan's eyes narrowed. We are not alone. The girl stood protectively in front of Zayn. They've found us. From the stairs came a cold voice. Ayan, this secret belongs to the family. It's dangerous for outsiders. A man stepped into the dim light. He looked like Ayan's uncle, the one who warned him. You must leave now, the uncle said firmly, before it is too late. Ayan looked at the man. I will protect my son and the truth. No one will stop me. The uncle's face grew harder. Then you leave me no choice. Suddenly he stepped forward. The girl moved quickly and pushed Zayn behind her. Ayan stepped between them. Stop, this is not the way. The uncle hesitated. Then slowly, he backed away. This is only the beginning, Ayan, beware. As the door closed behind him, the girl looked at Ayan and Zayn. We must be ready, the real fight is coming. Zayn whispered, I'm scared. The girl smiled softly. You don't have to. We have hope, and that is stronger than fear. Ayan nodded. Tomorrow we find the key to your healing together. Outside, the sun was setting. Darkness was coming. But inside the secret room, a small light burned bright. The next morning, Ayan, Zayn, and the mysterious girl woke up with a new hope in their hearts. The secret room had given them a glimpse of something powerful. Something that could change everything. But they also knew it would not be easy. Ayan looked at Zayn carefully. His son's eyes were brighter than before, but the boy still felt weak and unsure. The girl smiled softly and said, Today, we begin the journey. Healing is not just about medicine, it's about believing. Zayn nodded slowly. I want to try. The girl took Zayn's hand and led him to the garden outside. The fresh air and warm sunlight made the garden feel like a small paradise. Birds sang softly in the trees, and colorful flowers bloomed everywhere. Healing starts here, she said, with your mind and heart. She asked Zayn to close his eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine your legs getting stronger. Imagine walking, running, and playing. Believe it with all your heart. Zayn did as she said. For the first time in many months, he imagined himself standing and moving freely. Ayan watched closely, feeling a strange mix of hope and fear. He wanted to believe, but part of him was still afraid it was just a dream. After a while, the girl handed Zayn a small notebook. Write down what you feel every day. This will help you see your progress. Zayn smiled. I will. Days passed, and Ayan spent every moment he could with his son and the girl. They practiced the breathing exercises, the imagining, and slowly, something began to change. One morning, Zayn surprised everyone. He tried to lift his foot off the wheelchair and balance for a few seconds. His face lit up with excitement. It's working, the girl said, tears in her eyes. You are healing. But their happiness was short-lived. Ayan received a phone call from the hospital. His uncle had been there, asking questions about the secret room and the strange symbol. Ayan's heart sank. The family's opposition was growing stronger, and danger was closing in. That evening, as they sat by the fireplace, the girl looked at Ayan seriously. We must be careful. Your uncle will try to stop us. But we have the secret and the promise. Ayan nodded. We will protect Zayn, no matter what. Zayn smiled weakly. I want to walk. I want to run. The girl's eyes shone with determination. And you will. Together, we will fight. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Ayan froze. The girl whispered, Stay here. Ayan opened the door slowly. Outside stood a stranger, holding a letter. It's from your great-grandfather, the man said, quietly. He left something for you. Something that will help your son. Ayan took the letter with shaking hands. Inside was a map, a clue to another secret place, hidden far away. The girl looked at the map. This is the next step. Zayn's eyes widened. More secrets? Ayan smiled sadly. Yes, and more danger. But inside he felt hope, the hope that his son could have a new life. The journey was just beginning. The next morning, Ayan packed a small bag with the map and some supplies. Zayn watched quietly, excitement and fear mixed in his eyes. The mysterious girl stood beside them, ready to guide the way. "We have to find this place," Ayan said. "It might hold the answer to your healing." Zayn nodded, holding tightly to the girl's hand. "I want to believe." They left the big house behind and traveled to a distant village, following the map's clues. The road was long and rough. Rain sometimes poured down, making the path slippery and dangerous. Along the way, they met kind villagers who helped them rest and shared food. The girl smiled, but her eyes stayed alert. "We're close, the secret is near." One evening, as they camped under the stars, Ayan looked at Zayn. "Are you ready for what's coming?" Zayn nodded. "I want to be strong." The girl sat beside him. "The secret place is special. It holds the power to heal, but only if you believe." The next day they reached a small cave hidden behind thick trees. The entrance was dark and cold. Ayan shined a light inside. This must be it. They stepped carefully into the cave. Inside, ancient paintings and symbols covered the walls. The air smelled old but peaceful. Zayn's eyes grew wide. "It feels magical." The girl knelt down and pointed to a symbol on the wall, the same symbol on the violin and the book. "This is the sign of hope," she said softly. "Your great-grandfather believed this place could heal." Suddenly, the cave floor shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ayan grabbed Zayn's hand tightly. "Stay close," he warned. From the shadows, a figure appeared. It was Ayan's uncle. "You should not be here," the uncle said coldly. "This secret is dangerous." Ayan stood firm. "We have a right to this truth. You can't stop us." The uncle's eyes were hard. "If you go further, you risk everything." The girl stepped forward bravely. "Hope is stronger than fear. Zayn will heal because we believe." The uncle hesitated, then slowly left the cave, warning, "This is your last chance." Inside the cave, the girl led Zayn to a small pool of clear water. "Drink this, it will help your body." Zayn took a deep breath and drank. A warm feeling spread through him. For the first time, he felt a lightness in his legs. Ayan smiled, tears in his eyes. "It's working," the girl said softly. "Healing is a journey. You must keep believing." Outside, the sun was setting. A new hope was rising for Zayn and for the family. But the road ahead was still full of unknown dangers. The days after the cave visit passed slowly but full of hope. Zayn's body felt stronger every morning. He could feel something new inside, like a small flame of power waking up. Ayan watched his son closely. Each little movement, each small effort to use his legs made his heart beat faster. The mysterious girl stayed by their side, encouraging Zayn with gentle words and smiles. One bright morning, Zayn woke up feeling different. His legs didn't feel heavy. He looked at Ayan and said quietly, "I want to try standing." Ayan's eyes filled with tears. "You can do it, son." With the girl's help, Zayn stood up, holding onto a chair. His legs shook, but he stood. Slowly, carefully, he took one step. Ayan held his breath, watching every moment. Step by step, Zayn walked across the room. His smile grew wider and wider. "I'm walking," he cried. The girl smiled, tears in her eyes. "You did it, Zayn. Your belief made this happen." Ayan hugged his son tightly. "This is a miracle." But their happiness was not yet complete. The uncle appeared once more, but this time with a different look. His face was softer, filled with respect. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "Your great-grandfather's secret is powerful. I see now that hope and love can change everything." Ayan nodded. "We must protect this secret and use it for good." The girl looked at Zayn and said, "Your journey shows that even the darkest moments can have light." Zayn smiled and took his first steps outside the mansion, feeling the grass under his feet for the first time. Ayan watched with pride. The journey was long and hard, but hope and belief had brought them a true miracle. As the sun set, the family stood together, ready for a new future, one filled with love, strength, and endless possibilities.